Welcome back, artists. Today we're going to continue working on our Takashi Murakami anime flowers. My paint is now dry on my flower, which means I am ready to cut this out. I'm going to start by making sure that I am holding my scissors correctly. So if I look at my scissors, there is a hole that is bigger and a hole that's a little bit smaller. I can put some of my fingers down in the bottom here. Maybe I can fit all of them. I have big hands, so I'm just gonna put a few, and my thumb should go in the smaller hole. Now my thumb needs to be on the top of my scissors. It should point up towards the ceiling. If I hold my scissors upside down like this, it makes it really hard for me to cut because my arm is all twisted up. And I'm going to cut on the bottom with my scissors, but instead of trying to go down into here, which is kind of a hard cut, I'll show you, it's hard to go down and follow that line and then also turn my scissors around in that hole. That's really tricky. So what I'm gonna do instead is called a bubble cut, where instead of going down in that triangle, I'm just gonna cut across the top of my flower petals. Once I've made it all the way around my flower, cutting along the edges of those petals, now I can go in and I can cut out those triangle shapes in between. I'm going to stay on that line, turning my paper with my helper hand. My scissors don't move. And I'm going to cut down to that point where the white is, but instead of trying to turn my scissors around, I'm going to take them out. And now I'm going to come from the other side. And I'm going to cut, staying on my line, down to that point, and if I cut carefully, it should fall right out. And now I've got that space cut out. So let's try that again. I start at the bottom of this petal, and I'm going to carefully cut into the middle. Stop. Take my scissors out, and then cut from the other direction. There I go. Sometimes when I cut, that piece doesn't fall out right away. My cut wasn't all the way exact where it came to a point, so I can just pull that out if it doesn't fall out on its own. Now I need to cut out my circle to go in the middle of my flower. I'm gonna start by cutting off some of that extra paper just to make it a little bit easier. Okay. Now I'm going to start at the bottom, and I always want to make sure that I can see the line that I'm cutting on. And just like a train on a train track, I'm going to do my best to stay on that line. When my scissors go all the way closed, I'm going to open back up and keep cutting. As I cut, I'm going to do my best to turn my paper as I'm cutting. It's really hard for me to try and turn my hand that's holding the scissors while I cut. My helper hand, the hand that's holding the paper, is going to move the paper for me. My scissors really just have to open and close, but they stay in one place. Turn and cut. Notice I am not cutting fast. It's okay to go slow. If I cut fast, my circle might end up with points, and circles don't have points. Or I might not stay on my line. It's good to slow down when I cut tricky shapes like a circle. Once I have my flower cut out and my circle, I need to glue these two together. This white circle is going to help us cover up any spots on our flower where I might have accidentally got out of the lines and went into the middle. To open it, I'm going to twist just the orange part. I don't twist the white. That's going to make the whole cover come off. Just the orange. And I'm going to twist, and I should see that white disappear. And when I squeeze the bottle and listen, I should be able to hear it breathing. That means my glue is going to come out. I always put my glue on the smaller piece of paper. Which piece of paper is smaller? This one. So I turn my bottle upside down, and I'm going to give it a really small squeeze. I don't have to squeeze very hard, and I have a dot of glue. It's not right on the edge. If it's right on the edge of my paper, when I stick it on top of here, that glue is going to squeeze out the sides and we'll be able to see it. So I leave a little bit of space, and I use dot, dot, not a lot. Dot, dot, not a lot. I barely have to squeeze my glue bottle. Notice how small these dots are. A dot that looks like this, that is too much glue. Once I have my glue on, I'm going to carefully pick this up off of the table, and I'm going to turn it over. And before I just plop it on here, I don't want it to be off center like this. I want it to cover up the middle. So I'm going to hold it up above, make sure I like where it is, and then I can place it down on my paper. And then I need to give it a little bit of a massage to make sure it sticks. So I'm going to count to 10 while I give it a nice little massage.